This is the final song from our first record ever. Funny because it's a song that legitimately did not come together in any good way. Like, this was such a pain to do. And honestly, we almost scrapped this song so many times. But the only reason we kept it was because of this lyric at the end of the song. Let me play it for you real quick. It, like, saved the song for me.
I am alive in spite of all the words you say. I am alive.
So why
despite all the mistakes.
did this lyric save this song for me? It embodied everything that I think we were trying to do with this record. And it was like, the very first song on this record is Give and Take. And it goes, I feel compelled to say what's on my mind. And at the end of like all that journey that we went on, like making this record and everything that's been happening in this like past year for us, it's like it ends with I'm alive despite all the things we say. A reminder that no matter what, like every one of us is going to be okay. And it just really spoke to me. And so because of that lyric, I just wanted to finish a song and make this the finale of this first record. And that's what we did. So let's get to it. Song like was really about structuring and having it have like a progression. And what I mean by that is like I want the beginning needs to feel like the beginning and the end needs to feel like it's the end. And in the original demo of this song, there's a like when we wrote it, we wrote to this kind of bass, these two bass things. Right? And so we were writing to that, and that kind of like went out through the whole song, and we went from that into the chorus that had these guitars, and we had the drums pretty early too. It felt so bland to me because nothing had a real purpose. And even though the parts are cool and we loved like how Emma was singing the verses, and it just didn't have the juice, you know? And she had originally we planned to have the I Am Alive lyric in the first chorus, but then once we like kind of came at this song from a different perspective, we realized that we should save it, because then it felt like it's the moment to end on. And this is like one of those songs where like we literally had it for months, and I mean this song probably took us 4 months to do. And it was just because it was so frustrating to like be like hearing what the idea that you wanted, but then like not being able to figure out how to get there. And I don't know, like this song I feel like kind of got influenced by U2, because I was lucky and I was taken to the U2 Sphere show. And if you're familiar with U2, like a lot, like their mixes are like very sparse. And I'm not saying that this mix is sparse or anything like that, but like how they like the Edge does like his guitars. It's like one guitar line with like delay or whatever. And I remember I came back from that trip and this song was still not done. And like, you know, this was like the only thing holding us back from putting out music, basically, because I wanted it all to be done. But I kind of just started like taking shit out of the song. And it got better. Like the more stuff that I took out of the song, the better it got. And so like I kind of like, let's just, you know, the chorus, I was like, okay, I'm loving the drums. they just feel fucking good. And if I put the bass in, the bass feels good. And these were like the building blocks of like where like it was like kind of like, and I recommend this. I have like, you know, you can either group your instruments or whatever, but basically it just makes it really easy to just like solo what is happening. That's just a quick side note. But so like the guitar, we had the same like, you know, chord guitar from earlier, and that was like boring and I didn't like it. So we were like, all right, like I know we want the vocal.
You say I am
And this, like, just doing this was better than whatever the hell we had beforehand. Very edge-influenced guitar kind of was from the fact that we took everything out of the song, like, musically, or I guess, like, obviously not musically, but I mean, like, more like melodically, like the guitars, like the chords, whatever. We took all that shit out. So then it was like, okay, like, if, like, this is a cool part, this sounds kind of funky. And by the way, it's all effects, because, you know. And while we're here, I might as well show it. But we got this cool Echo Boy Jr. going, a Valhalla vintage verb, and some EQ. And on the guitar itself, I'm trying to remember, I did like a tremolo thing, but I think I did it with like an LFO, trial and error. Like I just was like, hey, wouldn't it be cool if it like had a crazy sound? So then I put like this LFO on it and like manipulated it so that it kind of had this weird sound. But now with those elements, you got a freaking, to me, this was like a way more interesting approach to the chorus than what we had before. And it also made it feel like this is like a hype end of the song. Because the first chorus, if you haven't heard the song, is this, you know? We have like a little like drum breakup thing here to like, but I didn't want to hear that again. And not because I don't like it, it's just the end needed to be massive and be what it ended up becoming. So that's kind of like a little bit of how we got to where we got. The same kind of thing happened with the intro, you know? The intro was, you know, the drums and these bass instruments like the whole time. And for 45, however long it is, like the minute of the beginning of the song, it's like got boring as shit. So we basically like split everything out and figured like, hey, what's the most effective way that we can every like couple bars, like 8 bars, be adding in elements that support and make better what we're trying to do here. And so the guitar like that comes in the intro, this like kind of came in like really, really late in the production stage. We actually didn't even have guitar through here. And it ended up being like the thing that was like, oh, this is like a cool vibe for like how to start the song. And especially like against her lead vocal.
Veils of green climb the walls, raised in fear. Where is the resolve? The messenger.
So it sounded like we wanted the whole idea of the song is that it's like it's about growth and like being like reborn and all these things. And to me, for whatever reason, that guitar with what she's singing feels very like luscious. Okay, terrible. I don't know how to say it. Hard word to say, but it just makes it feel like very like earthy and like real, you know? And so where do you like, we build from there. Like once that first lines come through, that's when we start adding in elements. And in the first half, we only have like a little bit of this percussion.
The messenger. becomes the
right?
harbinger.
But that's not all. That's when we start to bring in our synths. And the synths, I'll solo them here. There's four synths here. These things right here. They're actually just stereo synths, but a technique that I learned from Craig Bauer, who's a amazing mixer. He mixed all our stuff. He recommended, I can't remember what song it was, but he recommended like if I split up a stereo thing and then could manipulate each side differently to get where I was going, because I remember like I had some stereo sound that was like disgusting, and it was like there was issues with it within the mix, and he like split it up and then was able to like manipulate them in a way that made it feel what I was actually trying to go for. So I did the same thing with these ones, because these ones were like really bassy for whatever reason, and it was like, you know, trying to do both sides and take out the bass, they would become like really terrible sounding, honestly. So I had them fade in. This is the main synth. You know, that's like where you're getting a lot of your melody from. It's a very cool sound. It's from a Roland synth that I got. I think it's called a JDX or something like that. But the other thing too, I don't have it on here because like what this session is the mix prep session, which means I know what plugins that I share that Craig has, so I can leave things that, you know, I think he'll want to like mess with, but some things I just commit to. And one of the things that I committed to on these is that I did like this EQ sweep, and I can show you what that looks like really quick. I had this Fab filter, and I think I did like I did a couple things with it here. I did like a high cut thing, like basically like as it played, it would like start like going like this, right? Like start moving and opening up a little bit. And for those that don't know like filters or anything like this, basically it's, when I say open up, it's like all the like high end, which usually is like your clarity and all these things, I cut away, and as you bring them back, it just sounds like all of a sudden like everything starts to brighten up. But the other thing that I did is I made like a node where I just like, you know, sweeped it up, right? And that doing this, like I can show you, like you can get really interesting effects, right? Like that's how people make like radio effects and all these different things. But basically I did that and like swept it up, and I did that for all the synths. And so I'll play what it sounds like. At the end here you can hear it. It's very subtle, but it's there. And I did the same thing for these ones. These are like our bass synths. And this is just a quick tip, but whenever you put stuff in like this, if it doesn't like go good with the vocal, probably not a good idea to keep it. So all these different elements can just be with the vocal on their own. But if we got them all together, it creates this beautiful thing. And we got all the ranges. We got the high guitar, we got the synth that's like pretty much all mid and like everywhere, and then we got the low end bass. I had to keep the original idea, and this was like our original thing that we wrote to. But it was like, okay, how do I get that in here? Well, let's add it in right before we get to the chorus to give it like that last little bit of jump. And I mean, it's like funny because these are like kick drum stuff, but we used them because we tuned them basically as like our verse bass in this song. grown through this process. I mean, this is the last song that we finished for this album, and it's kind of crazy to think like if you look back, the first session we did, Ricochet, there's like 8 billion things in there and all these things, and then you get to here and it's like, a couple music stuff. Like the most is always going to be the drums, but there are a couple guitars, and then just like all these different vocal things just to like give it like cool moments. I mean, that's like what, whenever, like especially with vocals, like it's always fun to like create moments that people aren't like expecting, and I think the voice is such a crazy cool instrument that you can do that with. Like for example, in the second verse, let's just put it with guitar here, we go back to like kind of the same, it's a new melody and whatever, but we basically added in like these ad libs, and some other cool shit.
Beneath the sun, in the gloom, it will always bloom.
That's where like where sessions can get crazy, because it's so like you can always add like really cool elements and all these different things. Like for example here, when we have a turn, I'll play it real quick. This is a turnaround between the first chorus and the second verse. Reversed some vocals from, I don't know, like probably from the first chorus or something, and like made them super effecty, and this is the effect on the reverse vocal, and it's just fun. Like, why not? So going into the second verse, we bring in, it's the same elements. We change the melody and we add in the harmonies and all these things, but we added, this thing called birds and shit. Because, this is a nature song, so we had to have all the nature, It's like a nothing thing, It's like, but it adds like ambiance and just a nice little cool vibe to what's going on. It's such a weird song, and we know that. And we always laugh to ourselves. We're like, this is the song that like people, if they see it, they're just gonna like listen to it for like 4 seconds and be like, not for me. but inside what is here is so much beauty, and Emma just absolutely like annihilates the vocals here. Like let's listen.
Veils of green, they take it all. When ash meets earth to mend its fall, the harbinger welcomes a new resolve, and there they meet beneath the sun. In the gloom,
It's amazing.
it will always bloom.
Also, just it's like the nuance of what she's doing here.
Gloom, it will always bloom.
It's amazing, She's such a good singer, and she has like such a crazy like range of what she's capable of. Because I mean, listen to the other songs. I mean, she's like belting, she's doing everything. And this is like takes so much control to sing like this, and it's awesome. But basically, I need to stop saying basically. Here's the thing, is I don't need to defend anything that we do, because we're just going to do it regardless of what people think, because that's why we want to make stuff, because we just want to make things. But this is one of those songs where, it's special. It just has a special place in my heart for what it means, and just what it's like to just create something like this that is super left of center, and just, I don't know, like it just has a special place in my heart. And I think maybe that's because it is the thing, like how I felt deep down, like when we first started all this. I think I was like feeling like kind of dejected musically, just because, I've written hundreds of songs that no one will ever care about. And it's like when you do that for so long, it's like, damn, like these songs are out in the world and they make me money, but like who cares, And that's like kind of like what, I guess, when we started this whole thing, like the whole reason that I wanted to do CHiPS is because I was like, no one cares about these weird TV songs that I make. Like, by that, like no one cares about what my voice is. And this was whole project, I like wanted it to be a very collaborative thing with many people. And it ended up just being me and Emma, because we found that we just had like the similar ethos and similar like perspective of what was going on in our lives at the time. I mean, for her, she had a band, Oganali, that was like going through a rough patch too. And also like with COVID and all this crap, like we just were feeling like, man, our voices are really not being heard and blah, 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 blah. But then like through doing all this stuff, like, I mean, making this record was like insanely difficult. And not just this song, like, I mean, all the songs that we had, like, it was just like every single thing that I did in there and she did was reaching for the stars. And the like how hard like I pushed her to like sing way outside of what she normally is doing. And I'm not saying that she can't do it. What I'm saying is that I'm like, hey, that vocal take was sick, but like what if we like went like way harder here, or do this, or scream, or whatever. And it's like doing that is like putting yourself in a really like vulnerable position, because you're like having to like show like a different side of yourself to like you're in a room with someone, and all we can do is think of cool ideas and whatever. But it gets like, it can be challenging to try to find like the right sound or whatever it is. And it can honestly be embarrassing too, if like, for me specifically, it's like really tough to sing in front of her right now, just because it's just like, well, okay, not sing in front of her, but do like to like search for the melody or the cool sounds or whatever. And yeah, I don't know, like this whole thing felt like this moment, like that whole journey was this for this moment, for us to do this song and for it to end the way it ends. And I know I feel differently about this song than Emma does, but like when I heard that I'm alive despite all the words we say, I was just like, yeah, like this is exactly it. It's like nobody's perfect. No one does anything that is, yeah, I mean, I guess just nobody's perfect. And so this is kind of like that nobody's perfect song, but that it's cool, and that you're going to grow from that and learn from the things that you do. And, that could be anything. It's like relationships, friendships, anything. You just got to learn and keep living, Enough rambling, Kyle. So, like, and I use two different like break beat kind of things to build just the energy. Like, it was all about like trying to find something with energy. And then we have like the basses, and oh my God, would you look at that? It's the Badger bass and the STR bass that I've used on every single song. doing the same crap that I do on every song. Okay, see, I'm not talented at all. And then I made this bass. Make it have more of like a melody line. And like how to create that effect is there's a thing on synths. It's called glide. And you can use glide to base. What glide means is that it's like if you play 2 notes, whatever the time setting that you put for the glide, it will take that long to get to that note. So it'll go kind of like, it'll like rev up to whatever that note is. And that's what this is. And against these basses, I think subconsciously it does add like to how, you're hearing all the things when they're combined all together. And the basses, like how I get these basses, the reason I always am doing like these stereo Badger and STR bass is because it, like, you can make them stereo or like some semblance of what that is. And when you do that, just FYI, be very careful about like the levels of them, because you want them to, if you're hearing it mono, to not just sound like they don't exist anymore. So you need to like be cautious of like how loud they are relative to each other and everything. But I like put it through here and add like a chorus. And another really good one is Sound Toys has one. It's like it's called Micro Shift. But basically what those do is they create like some weird phasing elements to it that make it just sound really wide and awesome and blah, 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 blah. But basically that's why I do that. Oh, I have it. I have a Micro Shift thing too here. But I do it to make it just sound like this huge bass with like nothing. Because without it, hold on. It sounds terrible. And now it sounds like there's crazy stuff going on. And so that's that. So let's just listen between building up the choruses. Got the drums, we got the bass. We have that lead guitar from earlier, which is doing a lot of the heavy lifting. And then we have this other guitar, which came in, this was in the first chorus. This is the only guitar thing from the first chorus that we kept. And like with anything, I think things need to develop. So how we develop the second half of this chorus, because at this point of the song, we're just going chorus, chorus, chorus until we're done. Add in just a different melody line on the guitar. And that is enough of a change that it doesn't just become like this loop boring thing. So then like to build it, because the way that the song ends, hold on. So, to build that, going into this last 8 bars of chorus, we knew that we needed to add in some elements that were building block elements, that were things that you can add in that aren't like killing like the melody or anything, but now all of a sudden it feels like we're in a different place. And so I did that with some guitars. These are octave guitars. And that's just like, like really trebly, like cut out basically all the low end, and I'm strumming the chords, whatever they are. So you have that. You have this new synth, which is whack as hell. So just to hear what it sounds like, you're coming from here. And just an ascending thing, so you feel like you're building. So how do we make that crazy big thing at the end? Well, we have these ghost voice. It's a synth, basically. And just have them fade up in. You know, it's like... Wait, it's on the chord of where we want to go. Fades in. We'll mute that for right now. And then we have these weird vocal things. So let's just go through all these. I mean, this is what I was talking about earlier with like all the weird vocals are cool. You can do interesting shit with them. I mean, that is random. And you get Emma to sing a lead. And on their own, you know, not so great. But then when you put in a million of them, so this right here is the same thing that we did here, going into the chorus. So we have like a kind of like a breakdown chorus, and the vocals at the end of it. Just it makes it have like a really big moment by taking everything out of the mix, but also having like a cool melody going in. So we took those, we used them. I duplicated the 4 tracks and reversed them. Is that what I did? I did something. I honestly have no idea what that is. But we have that. But in the chorus, we have these stack things. We just had her sing like this chord, you know, we figured out what notes to sing. And it just kind of gives it makes like the beginning first word of her like the actual lyric have like a little bit of a pop. And so at the end of the song, like we needed it to be big. So what I did was I know for a fact. I took these, reversed them, and then time stretched them so they sound really whack. And using that and then using these other ones, it creates this really wild sound. And that wild sound, wow, all those things sound ridiculous on their own. When you bring them all together, it creates exactly what we wanted. And there's like things when you are working on songs where you go, I know, like I heard something, I know exactly where I want this to end. I knew that I want this song
despite all the mistakes we made,
to end like that. And so So we take that stupid, like all that weird crap that sounds horrible on its own. When you glue it all together, it just becomes that moment. And it just feels like that's like, it just builds right up and then everything drops out and you just hear what she has to say.
Despite all the mistakes we made.
And I thought that that was such an awesome way to end this whole record. And so, really, the only other thing left in this song is what is her vocal effect, because effect she has.
Alive in spite of all the words you
So it's just like a vocal
say.
double.
I am alive despite all the mistakes we make.
But it just didn't have the like, why did I do this? I feel like it was just because I wanted it to have like this like weird recycly feeling to it, where it was like kind of overwhelming, like that these things are like keep going and they just are like tormenting you in a way. And so I created this echo. It's an eighth note dot, which means like it's an eighth note, but it's dotted, so it's a little bit behind what an eighth note is.
I am alive
So now you're starting to hear it.
in spite of all the words you say. I am alive.
And it's a cool way to like have that like really amazing effect, but not have it like just be murdering like your mix, you know, and or even the sound. Like if I take this all out, let's just put it up real quick.
I am alive in spite of all
Like
the words you say.
it becomes like kind of taxing after a while, and it also like loses a lot of like the clarity.
I am alive in spite of all the words you
And that's like, you know,
say.
that's another thing, you know, working with Craig that I learned is like the effects are great, like can be cool, and you can do so many amazing things now with music, but it's also like being very like intentional with it, and not just like sometimes you just throw a reverb on it and you're like, damn, that sounds good, like whatever. But you know, like just being more intentional with why the effects are there. And that was like an incredibly intentional effect, literally, because I knew the second that I heard that lyric that I wanted the song to end with just that. And if it's the end of the record and there's nothing else, then the shit's gotta like fade out in a cool way. So I was just like, anything else that I need to talk about? This song is beautiful. This is my mix, so does not sound incredible, but I'll link the actual song in the description for this video. And if you like what we do, you should subscribe, because we need subscribers. And yeah, I mean, it's kind of tough. Like, I would love to get some feedback from people, like comment like, hey, I like this, I don't like this, whatever. But it would be good to know, like, if there's like specific things people want me to focus on, let me know. And that will like make my life so much easier, because I'm just making it up as I go, which should be pretty evident. But the last thing I'll leave you with, because people always like these ones, is how to play this song, the guitar. So let's listen. It's all here. It's like A and G. So basically, to break it down in the most simple form, that's not the tempo at all, but that's basically what it is. But so to make it more interesting, I started playing this, create the walk down effect, and to make it even more interesting than that, I took all that out. And like, if you are familiar with guitar, like a D, like that's kind of like what I'm doing, but I always put it with like the root note above it. I don't know why, it just sounds cool. But so it's just, And the only difference with the picking is the first ones, they're just like up and down, the first two. But then when I get to here, I hit the high string twice because the way that she was singing it, it was like really, it's weird. Something's weird, and I'm sure music people who are geniuses can explain why, but it just was like not fitting, so I just added in an extra note.
Messenger becomes a harbinger, and all the little birds still find the sun in the gloom.
Yeah, so that's the verse guitar, and then the chorus guitar is, they're literally just two chords. But so there's one that's actually playing, yeah, this one, it's like really quiet. It's like playing half tempo basically from what the other one's doing. But together it makes like a cool, it just, in the mix, it makes it cool because it's just like kind of like floating. And then there's this. Super simple. It's all about the effects and the attitude, right? So yeah, that's the song. I hope you guys have enjoyed Compassion and the song Always Bloom. And you know what? That's it. That's all I got. But hey, the point of all of this is, if you want to be a creator and create stuff or do anything, go do it, first of all. And figure out a way that you can set your life up that you can do this kind of stuff that you want to do. And secondly, no matter what, you are going to be okay. And, that's all that matters. Would I like to have 18 billion fans? Yeah, that'd be sick, but we don't right now. And does that suck? No, because what I do have is this. And that's the coolest shit I can ever think of, is that I have this. And I'm so happy, and I'm proud of Emma, and I'm proud of me for committing to this and doing it. And I'm proud of any other artist out there who's doing this stuff too, because it is a grind. But you know what? We're here, and I can't wait to start the next one. All right. I love you. Mwah.